Hey there, I'm Tara from Wild Bird Farm. I garden here in Zone 5 in central Iowa. Today, I think we have a high of 5 and a low of -7. So I am hunkered down here in our shop in my seed starting area, and we are going to put together our own seed starting mix. In the past, I have always bought bagged soil starting and seed starting mixes. That can get pretty expensive, especially if you're buying just sort of like a bag like this at a time. I got a sling one year of some really good compost that I use. That's also expensive and a little bit more tricky to get here to the farm. So this year I'm going to try making my own. If you've looked at the back of your seed starting or potting soil mix, there's a few standard ingredients, and then some that I've found better quality have some additional ingredients that we're going to be trying out this season. Right now, I am ready to get some sweet peas sown and some stock sown. So I am going to do something a little bit more than just seed starting mix. So there's a couple things that differentiate a seed starting mix from a potting soil. At least in my research, what I've found, you will often hear sterile seed starting mix. That means there is no actual soil or compost in the mix. Generally, that just has 2 ingredients. One is peat moss, and the other is often perlite. I actually went and grabbed a couple of old bags of seed starting and potting mix just to kind of read you the ingredients. So I don't want to broadcast too much the brand this is, but this is seed starting mix, and let's see, this product is formulated from 95% coconut fiber, perlite, and fertilizer. So this seed starting mix does have some fertilizer in it with coconut fiber. Now the ones that I had looked at in the store had peat moss and perlite, and they didn't have any fertilizer. So that can vary a little bit. Now this potting mix has a few more ingredients. Like we said, it's going to have some nutrition for the plants. Let's see, sphagnum peat moss, perlite, fertilizer, and a wetting agent. Let's see, peat, cocoa coir, and or other compost. And I think that caught everything. It looks like in some states like California, Texas, and Idaho, New Hampshire, Georgia might have some different requirements, so it might be a little bit of a different mix. I've also seen blood meal and bone meal in a very good popular growing mix. But for today, this is just an experiment for me to start out. This is what I'm going to start with. So since my sweet peas and my stock will be in their cells probably for about 6-ish weeks, I'm going to use the worm castings to give them a nutritional boost. Now, if you don't have this on hand, but you have some compost, that would also be great. I just have a tub that I'm going to be mixing this all together in. But if you had like a sifter or something that could get things really fine, I think that would work even better. And if my experiment here works well, that's what I'll be getting to use moving forward. I started working out my peat moss here. And generally, a couple of them that I looked at online were about a third. So we're gonna try that. Probably not quite as much worm casting. I just have a smaller bag of the a smaller bag of the perlite. So we probably won't do this tub all the way full. And I'm gonna see how this goes. Bone meal, blood meal, and compost are some other ingredients that I will think about adding as the season goes on. But I thought this would kind of be a good starting baseline for these early seeds. All right, we are going to get started. I'm going to fill up a little bit more with the peat moss, and we're going to add the other 2 ingredients. Now, of course, I use a different tub. Like I'll use a smaller tub. Once everything's mixed in the large one, I will put enough in here, what I need to use to fill my cells today. And then I have some water, and I'll just get it slightly damp before I fill the cells. Today, that's especially important because I'm going to be using some deeper cell trays for the sweet peas. Oh, and getting this out here without making a mess might be a job. I'm gonna move this down to the ground for just a minute. And don't wear your best clothes because you're gonna get dirty. All right, in goes the perlite. I will probably use the majority of this bag. Just kind of see how far it goes. And then I better move that so I don't knock it over. Then here come the worm castings. I have a box cutter, but for the life of me, I could not find it today, so we're making do with scissors. Okay, I'm gonna give this a first mix. I'm assuming I may have to add a few more scoops of the worm castings and perlite, but let's see how this gets us. Okay, I scooped some into my smaller tub, looking pretty good. Everything is pretty fine. I'm pretty happy with how this came together. Now I know if I had a sieve that I could really sift the ingredients and get them a little more fine. If I had small seeds, that'd be a really good idea, especially with the sweet peas. They're larger, so I think this will be okay. Here are my deeper cell trays. Now these are probably 3 inches. I got some perennial plugs. Let's see, it looks like some sedum in these one year. And I just found these were great for sweet peas. So I have a couple of these. The stock is going to be going into these 128 cells. So I'm going to lightly moisten this and then we can get them filled and we can get going with our seeds. So I'm not going to overdo the water here. I just want it really slightly moist. With it being so cold out, and I'm going to keep, obviously the sweet peas like to grow cool. I don't find that the soil is going to dry out super quickly. So really just to the point where you can squeeze it together and it kind of holds its form, if you can see that. There's not water dripping out of it. All right, and I think this is ready to go. I'm gonna fill up my seed trays and get started with the first 20-25 seeds of the season. Let me know how you're keeping busy, especially if it's cold where you're at, what indoor tasks. Maybe you're using jugs for winter sowing. Maybe you've got that lisianthus and the eucalyptus already popping up. All those things are really exciting. So let me know in the comments below what's keeping you busy until we hit springtime.